so boss, overtaking our enemies. Moves calculated and orchestrated like symphonies. Smooth operated when bringing haters to misery. Top 5 list ain't shit unless you mention me. Yeah, that's why we don't associate. Fuck niggas make them more fuck niggas. Why they procreate? Why they overhate? Cause their time is short and a moment late. Let it culminate to they heart erasing and palpitate. Cowards perpetrate like they little group is respectable. Talking intellectual, all of you homosexuals, faggots.
There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
I don't want to congregate. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to fellowship. I ain't trying to build with you. Ain't the UPK, ain't the truth. Keep it real with you. Defenders of the faith, I got no problem bumping heads with you. All that bullshit, you can take it over there with you. Rather be a houseboy. Rather run with them field niggas. Show them to put in work. Move mountain, crush hills, nigga. Take a dead soul. Breathe life and make it live, nigga. No affiliation, so it's no one to compare with us. Took the Lord's laws and just added it with fear, nigga. Aim for the body, cause you know that killer head quicker. With these bars, I'm on my grizzly, so bear witness. You spit cold, I spit flu. Don't compare sickness. You floss diamond, I floss fringes. Don't compare dentists. UPK, we men the war shit. We ain't Christian. Harm one of us, get pistol whipped like the gun got a belt with it. I'm bred different. The competition just a mill. I'm fed different. I stood front line on them fields. I bled different. I'd rather be a corpse than a cow when I'm led different. Shit, I'm led different. Come through like a juggernaut, so don't get in the way. And we take everything serious. We don't play. I wonder now what they gon' say. Shit, we make profits out of shooters like the NBA. You get slayed for switching sides, nigga. We ain't on the same page. Immaculate conception. Wow. These niggas bitch made. I'm sticking with the foundation where my bricks laid. You switch sides, I'd rather switch cage. You was never with us, nigga. Just know we on mission, nigga. Right hand hold the scriptures, nigga. Left hip hold the pistol, nigga. How you want it? You can get it spiritual or physics, nigga. Wrong ones to come against, so bring an army with you. No affiliation. When you see us, make the difference with us. No affiliation. When you see us, know we different, nigga. No affiliation. So no, you can't kick it with us. The wrong ones to come against, bring an army with you.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Perfect, 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 perfect.
I'm ready to start. Let me know when it is.
Looking at my people and the casualties, misunderstood for having some morality, but
Lord Christ, keep us in generational poverty. I'm gonna go over that real quick to be clear, because the way General Yohana broke it down was incredible, man. And whenever I hear him break down how they always put other races over us and pass us down as an inheritance, man, it's so powerful, man. That was what made me come in the truth. That made me come in the truth, understanding the mechanics behind how they're doing it. Spirituality means a lot to me, but practical knowledge means everything, man. When you can prove how something works, you understand? Like what's happening right now in Afghanistan, man, is a perfect example of what they're about to do to black people, man. See, we thinking it's a good thing that a lot of them people is getting out of Afghanistan and they get to come over here. They've been helping America, because we all caught up in, the mark of the beast, which is being in the white man's society and in his culture, man. Right. We think whatever he think is good for us. Look, let me tell you something real quick. Them Afghans coming over here is not good for us. and they're landing right in Maryland. They're coming right to Maryland. You understand? Whenever a person comes to the United States of America as a group, they need a way to survive. They need to be funded. How is the United States of America going to fund these people? Because they can't just treat them like black people and just throw them on the ground and let them root hog. You know what I'm saying? Root hog is an old saying that, you know, if you take all the food away from a pig, he'll go dig up the roots out of the ground. And that's basically what he had, what this oppressor had black people do. Did it to us after slavery. They do it to us every goddamn day in this country. Root hog or die. That's the goddamn message for black people. Root hog or die. But you see, whenever people come over here, and this goes for the Europeans, the Chinese, the Japanese, when they come over, they need a niche, a way in which they can make money. They have to be funded, or else they fall into criminality and disorder. Surviving on the streets in America ain't good, man. It ain't good. Them people are coming over here with no education. They don't know the culture. They don't know the language. How are they going to survive? Let me enlighten. Let me enlighten. Let me enlighten. They're going to put them in black communities, fund them so that they can open up businesses, a way for them to survive and bring money into their community. It is also a way to take away funds from black people, which is very important because prosperity does not breed criminality. This oppressor needs black people to be criminals. That's why when you walk around to the store, no black people own any brick and mortar businesses. Very few. And the ones that had them, you know, taken over this pandemic, you better believe Afghans will be in them. You better believe that. They're going to be funded. They're going to have businesses just like the Koreans, just like the Vietnamese. That's why the Vietnamese have every nail shop in our community. Right. Why? Because they were funded. And they were able to open those nail shops and be successful. They had the funding, the certifications, the zoning, all of that is done for them. But all of that is what keeps us out of brick and mortar businesses. You understand? The federal government is going to fund these Afghan refugees with your black tax money, with our black tax money, because black people in Baltimore pay the highest property taxes per capita. All of that goes out of the community. And because we don't practice, we're the only people in America actually that don't practice group economics. So we are broke every single solitary night. We get paid in the morning and we're broke in the night. That's how it is. We don't pay attention to where we spend our money. Those Afghans are going to be opening up gas stations, lamb and rice stores, chicken joints. You better believe it. They're going to hand us down as an inheritance to them. And in a few years, they'll be living so much better than us, you would think they were here for over 400 years in slavery. I'm going to show you how policing inflates criminality. It moves criminality. It's behind the entire criminal system. How I give you this piece? I give you this piece quickly before I start. The police have been aggressively policing every black neighborhood in Baltimore. And because every neighborhood is virtually basically the same, every black neighborhood, because the blueprint is the same. They take all the businesses, deny the funding, allow, push mass incarceration and aggressive policing. This is in every single solitary neighborhood, man, black neighborhood. Excuse me. So I know it's happening everywhere. I was there in the 90s, down the projects. You ask me what projects did I grow up in? Every goddamn project in Baltimore. I was there. Latrobe, Lexington, Murphy Homes, Cherry Hill, Fleck Hood Night, man. They down the Flag House projects, man. They were knocking somebody's door every day. Every day somebody got raided. It wouldn't matter if they were selling drugs out of that house or not. It didn't matter. Somebody with drugs went into that house, and they would come up with some stupendous reason, but they would go up in there so aggressively, treat us so aggressively. They have been doing that from what I know since the late 80s and 90s, so aggressively, and I saw this with my own eyes, that a brother being killed or beaten half to death was nothing. It was nothing people even talked about. It was, damn, you know, he got killed by the police last night. It was as simple as that. No, it wasn't like George Floyd today. It was nobody gave a damn. This happened in the late 80s and 90s. I saw it for myself. Ain't no goddamn body ain't gonna tell me this ain't happening. Policing that was so aggressive, everybody was getting locked up. Everybody had a bail. They used to call them ransoms, because they would make the bail so high it was like a ransom. And if you was able to meet that bail, then they know you hustling drugs real heavy or whatever real heavy. Because everybody in that project was balls to wall broke. Everybody. You know what? It's the same way today.
Yes, sir.
Same way today.
Yes,
they may have knocked the projects down. They may have knocked the high-rise project down, but the neighborhoods are the same way. Aggressive policing. Why hasn't it changed since the late 80s and 90s? Why? Shouldn't crime go down if you are aggressively hounding people? Every time you a black man, you walk out of the house, it's the police ask you, where you going? Would you put your hands up? What you got on you? Trying to provoke you. Even if you wasn't doing nothing, they could lock you up for obstruction of justice or resisting arrest. A resisting arrest charge. Good night. What were they arresting you for? They don't even give a charge, but resisting arrest. That's what life was like in Baltimore City, man. It was crazy. And they did this for years and years and years, and it did nothing but make it worse. It made everything worse. I'm going to break the mechanics down to you. It made generational criminality. The fathers are now gone. All the men in the community locked up. All of them locked up or dead. You understand? It's completely decimated and destroyed the black household. And they need black people to go to jail. This country needs black people to go to jail. Why? We're going to get into that. And it's written in the Constitution. It's written. All right, let's get it on. Move that that presentation, McDum. Good brother McDum, and let's yeah, go ahead and read that. We're gonna get into Abe Lincoln real quick.
Author Abraham Lincoln, date 1862. Annotation. In August 1862, Lincoln stated, "If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that." In fact, by that time, imminent pressure was building to end slavery, and Lincoln had privately concluded that he could save the Union only by issuing an Emancipation Proclamation, which he had already drafted.
All right, let's get it in here. Now, that was a quote directly from Abraham Lincoln. See, we sitting here after all of this time thinking that they had a conundrum of conscience because they didn't want slavery no more. Abraham Lincoln didn't give a damn about slavery. Whether you was in slavery or not, whether half of us was, half of us wasn't, he didn't give a damn. It didn't matter to him as long as the Union stayed together, because the business model had to change.
Right.
Because we coming into the industrial age. So slavery was no longer advantageous for the North. It was for the South because they was making so much money. But for the North, it wasn't. Having a lot of low-wage workers where you ain't have to have a gun at somebody's head. You know what I'm saying? This was more advantageous than having chattel slavery, because all the other countries around the world had started to come out against slavery. But of course, the greed of this oppressor, half of them didn't want it, half of them wanted it. Now, I just wanted to break that spell of the emancipator, because these people are nothing and they are nobody for us to be looking up to and thinking that they freed us. How can somebody free you? How can somebody free you? Think about that. How can the people that put you in to this jeopardy then turn around and free you? Either you are the enslaver or you're the savior. Our oppressor seems to be both. And we don't seem to care either way about his lies. They didn't give a damn about saving us or have any empathy for us, man. They said it with their own words. This is the great emancipator. Let's move on. Now I got the Mason-Dixon line right there. Now you can go ahead and read.
The proclamation only gave the Lincoln administration the legal basis to free the slaves in the areas of the South that were still in rebellion on January 1st, 1863. It effectively destroyed slavery as the Union armies advanced south and conquered the entire Confederacy. Date, January 1st, 1863, part of the American Civil War.
Hey, look, man. Look. These cats, and I showed the line right there, because, and this is what we do in the country, and the Romans end up destroying Israel.
Right.
We do it with Democrats and Republicans. The Republicans treat us bad, we run to the Democrats. Democrats treat us bad, we run to the Republicans. We did that back here. We ran to the North. We wanted to get to the North because the South was treating us so bad. And Lincoln, of course, he freed the slaves in the southern states, which had already seceded from the Union, which he had no power to do. But he did this in order to take away the engine behind the Southern war machine, because they was kicking butts. They was kicking the North behind. But Lincoln freed the ones in the South, when the ones in the North, we was in the North suffering in slavery, getting our backs beat, getting destroyed, getting utterly eviscerated, right there in the shadow of the bull in New York. In New York, where at the time a pandemic was going on, they was letting black people die, man. They was letting us die, killing us. They had already had slaughter after slaughter after slaughter. You know what I'm saying? So he takes the engine from the North and allowed black people from the South, and allowed black people to enter into regiments in the North. That's where you get the famous 51st, you know what I'm saying, and all of that from. But when he allowed black people to start forming these regiments, that's when the war effort turned towards the North. Because you had black people fighting for their families, going back to the South. They had left the South and come to the North, left their families in bondage. They joined these regiments, went back to the South to get their goddamn families, man. And we give that honor to white people, saying that they freed us, that the North freed us. None to the 51st, who fought to the last man. Look, when them oppressors down south, they would give black soldiers no quarter at all. If you got captured, they'd hang you. They burn you alive, cut your head off, throw it back over to the other line. They had nothing for black people, man. If black people got caught fighting with the North against the South, and those Southerners won that battle, they would kill every black man there. And that's why we fought so hard. All right, we can move on from that. And while you flip that, let me get Revelations 12 and 9.
Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out.
You know who that devil is? Holy serpent. That serpent in the garden. That belly crawling serpent is a man. The same man that I will do like a dragon. You understand? Take 60,000 Afghanistan people, put them in planes and bring them up. 50,000, 60,000, nothing. Pop. No other country. Line a hand, destroy an entire country from the hand, like we did Iraq. This is the dragon, firing from the head. That's the dragon. And we gotta remember something. We've been under his propagandized lies for 400 years. So we gotta think now. The history that we think we know, the society that we think we understand, we might be wrong. We got to get the truth That is the only way we can properly assess the position that we're in now. These people are liars, man. We are in Babylon. We are in a country whose every single goddamn solitary city was built upon blood. Blood saturates and stains the ground of every town in this place. And it's our blood.
Right.
Well, you can drop that. Let's read the scriptures on
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt hearken, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
These are the curses of slavery that came upon and overtook us, man. They took us. They took us. And not only did they enslave us, don't let nobody tell you, black man and woman, don't let nobody tell you Africans own slave, everybody owns slave, and this slavery was different from any other slavery that had ever been enacted on the earth. Every other slavery, that was a way to buy yourself out of that slavery. There was a certain amount of time you had in that slavery. This slavery was permanent. You can't take your skin off. You can't take your skin off. This was a permanent slavery. Just like you're marked and treated in a certain way for being black today. Because it's a permanent slavery. Nobody can buy you out of this. There's no amount of time you can serve. Like, this place wants our soul. They want us to be happy in this slavery, in our oppression, in our pain, in our stress. They want us to be happy in it. Or, why don't you leave? You're not happy, why don't you leave? Ain't that what they say? This is how soulless this beast is, man. So we know who the beast is. You understand? Go ahead, read on. Yeah, go ahead.
And thy heavens, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
All right, this is talking about prison. It's talking about confinement. It's talking about something heavy, bro. It's talking about being away from your family, being controlled. This is mass incarceration in the Bible, man. Thousands of years before it actually happened. Because this was not happening when people were enslaved. It was more of an indentured servitude, when you had to serve this family for a certain amount of time. And they took care of you. But this was completely different. This was torture. Mental and physical torture. This was rape. This was a complete abandonment of human rights. This was putting black people on, putting us in a place where we weren't even human. This is different, bro. This ain't the same. This is something that nobody on this earth had ever suffered before, man. Not like this. Not like your child is born, they're automatically a slave. They automatically belong to this people. They can take your wife, bend her over in front of you whenever they want. Take you, bend you over in front of your wife, and take you. This was different. This was immoral. This was ugly. This was where every police department in America was forged out of this filth, this vile disdain of humanity. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28 and 41. Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
I tell you, man, read on.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness.
We've been serving this vile beast. Serving this vile beast under these conditions, in nakedness and in thirst and in hunger, while he watched us suffer and demand our loyalty anyway. Demand it and watch us suffer and die at his hands. And then he congratulates himself and say, I built the best country on earth. We live in America, the land of the free and of the brave, that was paid for in blood, the blood of black people. But for some odd reason, we are looking at them like they are somehow our savior or somehow better than or up above, when these people are the most vile people on the face of the earth, who inherited blood and like it. They like it. Why? How do I know this? Because they keep it up. They've kept it up generation after generation. They've kept exploiting us generation after generation, creating police forces that destroy us, destroy our families. They found out that the black family stayed so strong and the black woman stayed so strong because the black man encouraged her and she encouraged him. Well, they got in between that. They don't want the 60s to happen again. They want that black woman to be independent. That way they can get more black exploitation, more black blood, and feel good about themselves. They can't sleep unless they're causing chaos in our community. Read on, where we at?
In the middle of 48.
Go ahead.
And in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee.
Read on. Go ahead.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
This is not a situation that we can be bought out of. This is the same vile situation that the police flourished in, were born in. This is what they were born to do. Back when they were called patty rollers, man. They were called patty rollers on the plantation. And we're going to get into that next. Go ahead. And you can start reading when it comes up.
Slave plantation to public housing. A socioeconomic condition of the projects result from years of racist behavior towards so-called American blacks that can be traced to the origins of slavery and have continued because of global commerce and capitalism. So-called black poor are well aware that they are subject to rigorous social quarantining, numerous social stigmas, stringent surveillance, and brutal punishment, as was on the plantation. The modern American policing strategies and racial politics are an oppressive means of regulating the urban poor, primarily black youth. This criminal justice juggernaut regulates the lives of poor Negroes to the extraordinary degree.
Good night.
Or extraordinary degree.
Good night. Which tells you how we're still subject to slavery today. Get me Revelations 2 and 10 while we here. I want this to sink in, man. This got to sink in, man. Is that the one that's gonna cast us in prison?
Come on, sir.
I'll read it again.
Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer.
It's saying, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. That's talking about these goddamn curses, man.
Come on, sir.
Don't fear none of these things, man, that you about to suffer. We've been suffering this for 400 years now. There is a mass incarceration program that makes trillions of dollars for America. It is the machine. Look, check this out. We got towns in the Midwest that used to be towns that used to have like coal mines and coal industries, stuff like that, gold mines and gold industries. When all the coal mines closed down, they didn't have an industry in which to make money. They didn't have an industry all the way out there in which to make money, which is why they put all of these prisons out there in rural areas in the Midwest. Why? So that everyday ordinary white folks could be correctional officers and have a niche to make money and survive in America generation after generation. Didn't we just go through that? Everybody has to have an industry in which to survive in America. We don't understand it because our industry is crack. But they need us to go to prison. Why? To fund all of those towns in the Midwest that no longer have coal factories, that no longer have car factories. Right. You know, Ford and Toyota and Nissan, all of them took their factories and took them overseas. You know that? So the America that once was through the industrial age started to change because they started to outsource the factories. Because why? Because they could get labor cheaper in China and in Mexico. So those towns no longer had an industry. They needed an industry. They needed crime in black neighborhoods to flourish all throughout the Midwest. Companies have to pay when jail cells are not filled up. That's why aggressive policing is important to the stability of white America. We almost getting to the point. Read that scripture.
Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison.
Good night. This can't be some mythical figure underground or some angel. This is saying the devil will cast you into prison. Yes, sir. The devil will physically cast you into prison because he needs you there. We all know who the devil is, man. We've been saying it since 1969, man. We know who the hell the devil is, man. The one who cast us into prison. Our fathers, fathers, our children, we already know what it is. It's not an angel. It's not a red guy with horns under the ground with a pitchfork. It's real. It's a people right here putting some of us, casting some of us into prison to fuel their filthy society. And there's more. There's more. Matter of fact, go back to, is there some more in that scripture? Go ahead.
That ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days.
Ye shall have tribulation. We had enough goddamn tribulation here. Let me try to tell you. Let's go back to the presentation. I think we on the second paragraph. Read on. We gotta get quickly through this. Give me a time check.
Finish that.
We finished that? All right, no sweat, move on.
Genesis chapter 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
He said, no for a surety. Not maybe. He said, no for a surety. No for a surety. Your seed will be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. And what else?
And shall serve them.
Serve them. Go ahead.
And they shall afflict them 400 years.
Look, this is a prophecy, man. It's a prophecy. It's very easy to understand. There is a people that are going to afflict the children of Israel 400 years. Let that sink in. Go ahead.
We're going to Acts chapter 7, verse 6. And God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years.
Good night. So now the children of Israel are going into bondage. This is the Old and the New Testament. It's the Old and the New. You an Old Testament Israelite, you a New Testament Christian, I don't give a damn what you is. This is the Old and the New. And it's saying basically the same thing. They will entreat them evil. How do they entreat them evil? 11%, almost 11%. And this is an FBI statistic, their statistic. I know it's much more than this. 11% of black people that are in prison for crimes they never even committed. Is so many people coming out of prison for murders where they weren't even there. Wasn't it President Trump who condemned what was it, 5 black men? The Central Park 5? Condemned them. They need to go to prison, they violate their animals. But the woman, the white woman that got shot in the Capitol, he swears she was murdered. What's her name? Give me her name, True. The white woman that got killed in the Capitol. Oh, you don't got your phone with you. Ashley Babbitt got killed in the Capitol. Why she ain't do what the police said? Police said stop.
Right.
Why she ain't pay attention? She went on through the busting, broke in with her privilege, and she got shot. Well, Trump said she was murdered. She was murdered by the cop. How dare he shoot and murder her? She was only gonna say hi to the senators. It was only it was a protest, just a heated protest. It wasn't an insurrection. That's what Trump said. She was going to give the Senate a piece of her mind. That's what she was doing. She wasn't going to do nothing. She wasn't armed. It was only 1,000 people behind her breaking in, not doing what the police said. And in that moment, she became a criminal. She became a criminal by not listening to the police. She was going towards Congress. They were violent. She got shot. It was not a murder. It was not a murder. But Donald Trump condemned them black men that ain't had nothing to do with that murder, nothing to do with nothing. But he condemned them because he must. He must condemn them. He condemns all black people. He must. It's in his genetics. All right, where we at? It's 8 o'clock? All right, read on. We're going to have to go through this quickly.
Policing the plantation.
Here's this another slide. Done with public housing. All right, now this is where the police started to be formed. The police were formed from what they call the patty rollers that were patrolling in between the plantations. And this is where they learned to patrol in these slave quarters to try to cut off any potential insurrection and to employ black snitches that would snitch on it, that would go back to master. Oh, master, they planning to escape, master. They planning to do this, that, and the third. You know, just like today. Just like today. To infiltrate our neighborhood. There were more, when I was talking to you about back in the late 80s and early 90s, there were more patrols in black neighborhoods than in Vietnam. Go ahead to the next one and talk about these slave patrol duties. This is what these slave patrol duties, this is what they would do. Let's see if it sounds familiar to anybody.
Slave patrol duties. Breaking up slave meetings.
Read on.
Monitoring rigid pass requirements for traveling slaves. Randomly searching slaves and their quarters, inflicting brutal punishment for infractions, real or perceived.
Do this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar to anybody? Anybody in any black neighborhood? Do this sound familiar? These are the same tactics done today that was done back during the time of slavery. Is it any more a truth?
Intimidation under treat of death and or harsh violent reprisal.
Could not. Treatment not dissolved. Is he up? Treatment not. Can you do me a favor? Salaki, Israel, 1 minute. In the freezer, first freezer. All right. What was that last one?
Intimidation under treat of death and or harsh violent reprisal.
Yeah, under threat of death, you know, harsh. You good? You said it the first time. You know, violent reprisals. If you talk crap to the police, then you know every black person know they beat the piss out of you. We already know that we're not treated like everybody else. Like if you're another race, you can talk a little smack to the police. You can be upset. It's understandable. But when black people are upset and talk a little stuff, it's a threat. It's a possible threat of violence towards the police, and they're able to respond accordingly, according to them. But we've all seen the videos of how they treat white people and how they treat black people, especially young black men. This is not a training issue. It's not a problem with their training, that they're trained, this is a failure of training. It is not. They have good training, some of the best training. They do exactly what their training tells them to do. They treat black men exactly how they're trained to treat black men. All right, this is not a failure of law enforcement. Oh, the wild, my brother. The wild. All right, let's move on, brother.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 23. In thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
These are the start of the police. When you look at them, man, these are the narcs that come in our neighborhood. You understand? These are the feds that come in us. This is homicide that comes in our neighborhood. This is where all of this was birthed, where it was born, and how it festers to this day in black communities, man. And it's not about justice. It's not about justice. It's about creating criminality. And then you say, come on, you must be crazy. You must be out of your mind. How can the American
cannot suppress slave insurrection? If there should happen an insurrection of slaves, the country cannot be said to be invaded.
It's talking about the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms. Didn't they say that was for the government? So we could always be armed. We have a right to be armed. So the government can't take our arms. So we can feel safe against the government. Had nothing to do with the government. The Second Amendment is about being armed for a slave insurrection. That's what the Second Amendment is originally about. Like everything was driven for the exploitation of black people. Every white person was expected to be involved with slavery, apartheid, and oppression, black codes. All of them were involved. When you became old enough, 16, to hold a gun, you are expected to look out for any type of slave revolt. In fact, you were paid a fee. Everybody in the community got a certain privilege and a certain fee to look out for any type of insurrection. And that's how it happened. This is every white person. This ain't just a couple of white persons here and there. You got a gun, and you understood certain checkpoints where you could corral these people and stop an insurrection. Every white person had to look out for that. Every white person was eligible and able to stop any black person and say, let me see your papers. Let me see the note your master gave for you to travel from here to here. Where you going? Any white person. Any more on that, brother?
They cannot therefore suppress it without the interposition of Congress. Congress and Congress only can call for the militia.
They created local militias that they could enact in a moment's notice. Understand that. And every white person was involved. Everyone. So we wasn't involved in this. We don't have a legacy. How do you know who was the slave master? Everybody was involved and everybody benefited. Everybody. Now we're going to come to the underlying reason why they need black people to be criminals. goddamn, is written in the Constitution. There's no need for it to be there unless it was purposely put there, ingeniously put there, sadistically put there. I didn't put it there. My thumb didn't put it there. UPK didn't put it there. Your oppressor put it there. Because just lucky for the oppressor, the black race is a criminal race. Lucky for them, according to how they designed and created the Constitution. Isn't that so convenient and lucky for them that we just happen to all be criminals? We gotta really open our eyes and investigate and see what the hell is going on here. This is not a coincidence that this language is in the Constitution. Come on now, you got it on the screen?
Come on. 13th Amendment / freedom. Neither slave nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. They created and put in the Constitution a clause that basically says, if you're a criminal, I can continue to enslave and exploit you. And I can do it in any way that I goddamn sure see fit. Which is why there is aggressive policing in every black community. And we think that we can defund the police or stop that with humanity and with understanding and with conversation. You gotta be out your goddamn mind, man. It's in the Constitution. They designed it for us to be criminals. It was designed for them to generate and exploit trillions of dollars out of the black community. It's called robbing the poor. That's what it's called, robbing the poor. You can't get away from it. It hits you generation after generation. And if it skips one, it's goddamn sure gonna get the other. Either our children or our grandchildren gonna be caught up in the criminal justice system, because it's not about justice. It's about getting as many black bodies into a jail cell as they can get, which is the reason why they do not forgive a guilty verdict. It stays on your record forever. Why? So that you cannot find another viable way to fund your life. You have to engage. You almost have to engage in criminality. All the businesses in our community are given to other races of people. That's trillions of dollars, $7.3 trillion annually that goes out of the black community. It leaves us in utter poverty nightly, daily. A Chinese child, he has options. He can go work for his mother or father in that Chinese store selling wings, or he could go with his uncle to the gas station. He can start there. He can go into management, or they have the capital to send him to college, to also take out jobs in the private sector. He can go and be a neurosurgeon. He can go and be an engineer very comfortably, however he wants to do it. But he can always fall back on I have this inheritance of this store in this black community, and I can keep working that for another 20-some years and live very lucratively. But the black people that grow up in this community don't work for us. It doesn't work for us. The best we can hope for is a job sweeping up from that Korean whose family came from the other side of the world, who they funded, just like the Afghanis that's coming over now. You think they in a bad position? They in the best position they can be. They're about to be funded and given a niche in this country in which to survive, something we never had. Root hog or die. Remember that. Remember that. Root hog or die. All right. Where we at, my son?
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in the darkness.
We are incessantly insane and don't understand the life that we're living. We don't understand. We go to court and are confused at all the charges we get for some minor, stupid thing we done, and we got all of these goddamn charges and don't understand how it works or what we supposed to do with it. And completely and utterly surprised when we get 2 or 3 years for something stupid. Read them.
And thou shalt prosper in thy ways. And thou
read that again.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
And shall not prosper in thy ways. All of those ways that we trying to prosper in, we trying to flip that quarter, flip that 8 ball, flip that thing. It ain't happening, bro. We're going to prison and we're dying. Read them.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
Exploited, destroyed, spoiled. Spoiled don't mean I'm spoiled on something, I'm getting a Lamborghini, no. Spoiled means you're destroyed, man. Generation after generation. That your sons and your grandsons will never get or have the things that they need in life. Why? Because we patronize Chinese and Japanese and Afghanistanis businesses. Because we go after the life and society and culture of white America who destroy us. We don't love each other. We don't practice brotherhood with each other. We don't have any morality concerning each other. Hold on for 1 second. Did we finish that slide? There's still more? Go ahead, get through that.
And no man shall save thee. Verse 33. The fruit of thy land, in all thy labors, shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only oppressed, crushed always.
Always. Crushed and oppressed, but think we doing something good. Think we rolling. Well, you see Michael Jordan and Oprah and Oprah and Michael Jordan served the slave master. That's all they do. They're slaves. That's all they do. Better paid slaves. The house slave. You understand? Because they can't go against their masters.
Right.
You can't kneel when they tell you to stand.
Right.
Or you lose your job. Kaepernick found that out. You get cut off. And for Oprah or Jordan to get cut off, that would be like death. That would be a humility pill they could never swallow. So they do exactly what their masters tell them to do. Exactly. Go ahead. You finished with that?
Reconstruction. Isaiah chapter 42.
When we doing reconstruction, this is after slavery, right?
Verse 22 to 24.
All right, so this is after slavery. This is us coming out of slavery. They had something called reconstruction down in the South, and they came up with the black codes, and they came up with this convict leasing program. This is, of course, connected to the 13th Amendment. Now the police are able to use their policing power in order to properly exploit black labor. This is the transition from chattel slavery to the industrial age of slavery, which works a little bit better for white folks in this time period. You understand? Read them, brother.
Isaiah chapter 42, verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
Oh, man. Read them.
They are all of them snared in holes.
They all of us snared in holes, man. Mental holes, physical holes. Good night, man. The amount of stress dealing with black life. It's a hole every 5 seconds, bro. Some we can see, some we cannot. I don't know how many brothers and sisters I talk to, man. I don't know how many. The devil gonna put you in prison. You're gonna be in prison. Now where everything is talking about prison. And just so happened, black men are going to prison at a ridiculous rate, man. Guilty or not, we're going to prison. Our entire society is stalked by the reality of going to prison. Like, we're sitting up here waiting to go to prison. It's like a disease, a cancer. Prison is something that we expect a large portion of our community to reside. If you haven't seen a brother in a couple of years, you automatically know he in prison. He's in prison. Because that's where they put us, because that's where they make money off of us. How do they make money off of black men going to prison? I'll get to that in a minute. Read on.
They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore.
Good night. Nobody gives a damn about young black men going to prison. It's expected. It's almost expected, man. It's sad. It's real sad, because the rich among us, they want to get the hell out of the hood. Number one, they're embarrassed at being black and embarrassed at the poverty of black people. That's number one. Number two, they love the oppressor. One of the biggest lies in Christianity is you love who you love. You fall in love who you fall in love with. You can't help it. Ain't that what they say, Madame?
Right.
You choose exactly who you want to love, right? You choose exactly who you want to be with and who you want to care about. You choose exactly. And you know why you choose the oppressor? Because you're proud of it. You're proud of the carnage that he's done. Right. Because you hate yourself. You hate yourself. And you hate black people. And you don't want to be a part of black people. That's why you always have the mindset of, I'm not like them. Like they are somehow different. I live here. I make this money. My credit score is this. I'm not like them. Only to be reminded by your oppressor that he doesn't give a damn about all of those things. He doesn't. He sees you the same way he sees every other black person.
Right.
And that's the sad day when you understand what this monster actually is. Go ahead.
Who among you will give ear to this?
Why is it always talking about those who have an ear? You among you who have an ear. Why? Because we're so caught up in loving America. We're so caught up in loving this oppressor. We actually believe his lies. There is only one people that believe in multiculturalism. That's black people. How do I know this? Because we're the only people that patronizes every other race of people's business. We don't give a damn who makes the food or fries the chicken. We'll go buy it. We don't give a damn whether it's chicken or rat. Because we know that these people sell us rat.
Right.
We know that they do it. They've been caught on several occasions doing it. Do we care? No. We'll patronize their businesses anyways. You're almost getting to the point, man. It's a lot here that I gotta be so truthful. It's because I love black people. You know what, man? When I go and say I love black people and only black people, you know how I know my people are so destroyed? Because by me saying I love black people and only black people, I prefer black people. They want to fight me. My own people want to fight me. Drag me down and beat me to a pulp. Now, I never at any point said that I hate anybody else or I want to hurt somebody else. Never said that. Only that I love and prefer my people. And for that, black people want to do violence to me. But I get it, I understand. It's a mindset. It's a mindset that's known as the mark of the beast. And it's so prevalent in the thinking. Because Christianity pulsates through our understanding of life. That Christ is God. Even though in the Bible it never says he's God. Even though in the Bible it never says he loves everyone. Even though in the Bible it never says he dealt with everyone. In fact, it says that Christ said out of his own mouth, I will not give the children's bread unto dogs. What I have for black people is for them. I will not give this power and this majesty unto dogs.
Right.
How you give that power and that majesty to white people, that they freed us. How we give that majesty to white people in every area, in every orifice of history. Not believing or thinking, maybe these goddamn people are lying to us because they treated us so disgustingly. Or it might be me. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't freaking know. Go ahead, where we at?
Who among you will give an ear to this?
Who will give an ear to this? Who will strongly choose who to love? Who will choose who to love? Because you don't just fall in love with any goddamn body. There are people on this earth that have sex with horses. They ain't just fall in love with the damn horse.
Right.
You understand me? They made a conscious decision to open their legs to this damn horse.
Yes, sir.
Just like black man, you had made a conscious decision to go up in that white woman. You made a conscious decision to do that. Why? Because you thought she was better than you. You think she better than you, even though at 40 years old she looked like your great-grandmother. You think she better than that black woman. That black woman who run her mouth. Because you can't control her. You teach people how to treat you. You teach them how to treat you. If you're not man enough to break their vile treatment of you, that's your weakness. No, we want love. That white woman who we believe is something better and something more than black women. We don't know who to love. We have no loyalty to anyone. But we believe that everybody else is better than us. That's how we stay in oppression. I choose who I love because of how it benefits me. I'm not going to choose to love you when it don't benefit my people. It don't benefit my existence. I'm Tiger Woods, and I get with some goddamn nanny who ain't got nothing, ain't got $50 to her name, but I'll marry her, she divorced me, and take $500 million. Money that could have went to the black community to stop criminality, to open up opportunity. It's opportunity that stops criminality. Funding. What if black families could have a business, a brick and mortar business, that the children and the grandchildren can work at and expand if they want, or make money how they want independently of anybody else? And if they didn't want to go into the family business, they could go to college, do something else, get some other skills, but you have the opportunity to go into this and not criminality. That will stop criminality. But we believe what the oppressors say. We got to get more police. We got to bear down on the black community and crush and stomp beneath the heel. Did that, done that, 80s, 90s, and it created more crime, because that's what it was designed to do. What time is it? We gotta move. We're gonna stop in 5 minutes. But hold on 1 second. We way behind. Salaki is my fault. Did we just go over Isaiah? All right, no sweat. Keep on.
Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Mm-hmm. Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
We never think about the embarrassment and the hurt, the pain that we cause the Most High when we always cheat on him with our oppressor, with the same vile and foul people that destroy us in any kind of way they can goddamn imagine. We leave the Lord. There is a black man, a God, that is our God, that we made a promise and a commitment to, and we break it all the time. Why? Because we think prosperity lies with our oppressor. We think that we'll somehow die and go to a heaven where our oppressor is there that's going to welcome us. How can we live together in heaven when we can't even live together on earth without them exploiting us, murdering us, and killing us? We're not thanking people. We're not thanking. There is no heaven. There is no place in the sky where we're going to all be together in love. It's a lie. It's always been a lie. Read on, brother.
Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Isaiah chapter 42, verse 25.
Right.
Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger.
Good night.
And the strength of battle, and it has set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him. Yet he laid it not to heart.
Good night, man. That is so heavy. Everything the Lord is showing us, man, the pandemic, every goddamn thing, we don't lay it to heart.
Come on with it.
We don't see that we should give our love to our people. We still want to take every shred of goddamn love we have and endow our oppressor with it, to empower him to continue to destroy us. And now he's going to take those Afghanistan weed, you know, laced with that, what's that opiate they lace weed with? Some type of crystal form or something. Damn, what is it called? They lace the weed with it. It's some type of damn, you and me, boy. I'm old. Salaki. Salaki is real. I'm getting old, man. But, huh? Say again? Garbage. Garbage. That's what it is. You right. It's tearing us apart, man. And is that lace weed that is laced with some type of opiate, you know what I'm saying, which is why the synthetic opiates have gotten so big lately, because the Taliban were out of power for 20 years. But you got to remember, before that, they were sending so much heroin to Baltimore. Baltimore was a heroin city. Now that the Taliban is back in power, you better believe the heroin is going to flow to Baltimore like it used to flow. You better believe it. They're drug dealers. Look, man, I'm going to go ahead. You know what? Go to the next clip. I think it's the last one.
Criminalization of the black race.
Criminalization of the black race. And that's what it's all about. Criminalizing us. No, that is actually not the last one. But let's go to the very last slide. I believe it has General Yohana in it. If you can hurry up for me. Salakia, I didn't get the whole thing in for you, Israel. Salakia. I talked a little bit too much, but I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to try to get the underlying demonstration for you. Go ahead.
Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people.
Hey, you know what, man? Our people, we understand that our people can't hear us. This is 400 years of propaganda and installed brainwashing on our people, man, that we goddamn believe that these oppressors are somehow angels, or somehow they're gonna somehow come around to where as though they're gonna treat us like they treat other white folks. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Read.
But in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves.
Good night. Over here in America, where we are captive, we have remembered who we are. We are the 12 tribes of Israel, the Jews of iniquity. Those people that wrote the greatest book on the earth, that lived the greatest lives on the earth, that are the greatest people on the earth, that means the greatest amount to the Most High God. Read on, brother.
Verse 31. And shall know that I am the Lord their God, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. Which means we'll be able to understand, man. We'll be able to open up and understand what the hell is going on in this earth and how they are deceiving us. This is very important. Read on. Verse 32, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. The Negro God. We shall praise him. Come on, man. Who will praise a Negro? The nothing. The meek. The what? The poor. The criminal. The piece of garbage. Who will praise a Negro? Come on, man. Who the hell would uplift a deadbeat daddy? Ain't that what we are, my thumb? They call it, sir. You a deadbeat, right? That's right, I am, sir. They call me a deadbeat, too. Even though my children live with me, I take it, whatever. Go ahead. Verse 33, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds. For they shall remember the ways of their father, which sinned before the Lord. Good night. You understand that, right? You get that, right? Anybody got any questions or anything? Anything online? All right, I got to go. Most High in Christ, I'm going to bring priest and officer, Matham Shakaria, up to close us out. The wow. Stiff-necked people, huh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We can never get enough of being abused by our oppressors. The
only way we get out of this thing is if we come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, you know? We gotta love our own, you understand? We love every nation on the face of this planet but our own. And the only way we come up out of this is love our own. Come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. This is the reason why the scriptures say, gather yourself together, yea, gather yourself together, O nation not desired. You understand? We got to understand that we are a nation of people that are not desired. Yes, you understand? And we have to desire ourselves. The other nations hate us. So we have to show our love, and we have to turn all our love to our own people. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from their head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from their head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8-10. Means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashra. It's a tenth of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund. A free will offering for the priest. It's not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Up and coming holy convocation. Remind Akim and Aquathium to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel, a Majim. Majim Shabbat, Majim, Barak, Yahaba Shimi Hawashabarakatah,
Yahaba Shimi Hawashabarakatum,
Yajmatah, class dismissed.
My life